Have you noticed that natural disasters are on the rise around the world? In recent years, Japan has experienced a growing number of major earthquakes and frequent large-scale floods. Such natural disasters have trebled in number in the past 3 decades, uprooting the lives of more than 60 million people in 2018 alone. And this year, the spread of COVID-19 also poses a threat. Our everyday lives can be turned inside out at any moment. This is a story about one man who is taking on the challenges facing the world by building an entirely new type of city. Kasumigaseki, Tokyo. The company he runs is in a building overlooking the Diet. Called Land Business, they have been engaged in real estate development since their establishment 35 years ago. They're a select group of real estate professionals. From office buildings to condominiums, their property holdings exceed 40 billion yen in value. The company is headed by this man, Masamichi Kamei, the founder of Land Business. He has expanded the business in step with the growth of Tokyo.
The landscape has changed. You see a lot of buildings now, but there were hardly any before. You could even see Mount Fuji from here.
He says he has long felt a strong sense of crisis.
Most of the small buildings over there were built when earthquake-resistant standards weren't as strict. Many buildings remain vulnerable.
In addition,
flooding is a pressing issue for downtown areas that lie below sea level. Japan can be a wonderful place as long as it's protected against natural disasters.
the buildings that Mr. Kamei constructs have consistently drawn the industry's attention. Newscaster Noriko Enokido recently interviewed him.
This is a low-rise condo?
It's 3 stories.
They visit a property with a grand entranceway.
We wanted to create a place that would surpass Raffles Hotel.
This really has the grandness and the atmosphere of a hotel. Wow! So this is the entrance to a condo?
Yes, a rental condo.
I'm amazed. I've never seen such a spacious common area. You're sure this is a condo?
It certainly is.
The biggest characteristic is the resort-like atmosphere, with a water garden in the inner courtyard.
It's fabulous. You don't get to see water scenery like this every day.
Living here, you encounter the extraordinary in your ordinary everyday life. We wanted to create a place that you can enjoy without having to go on summer holiday. Something that would impress and amaze anyone in the world.
This condo is already 20 years old. Mr. Kamei says he focuses on developing properties that rise in value, even as they age.
We want to make this a standard of Japan and transform the lifestyle of Japanese people.
I think it would be great if the city you love can be passed on to the next generation.
Exactly. I want residents to have a conversation like, "Mizonokido, when was your home built?" And you say, 200 years ago. Then the other person says, "So it's relatively new. Mine has been here for 560 years.
What an interesting idea.
Meanwhile, this is an office building near Yokohama Station, developed by Mr. Kamei. It's not an especially big property, but
It cost 11 billion yen, about 2 million yen per tsubo. We spent a considerable sum.
the spacious entrance has an almost museum-like feel. And he says he was very particular, even about the marble used.
I went all the way to Italy and purchased rare marble that's just 2% of what can be mined from the mountains there. We have about 1,500 square meters of that. You don't see this quality very often.
His insistence on quality is also found in the wood-accented elevators. Mr. Kamei has succeeded in developing numerous popular properties resilient to market trends by creating an exclusive atmosphere. And now he's working on a massive project to which he's devoting all of the expertise he's accumulated over his 35 years in the business.
Before floods, we need to think of earthquakes. Our two main focuses are earthquake and flood resistance. This is a residential neighborhood for about 10,000 people. We'll build this water barrier and ensure that the community inside has 1 month's worth of electricity, water, and gas.
What he's planning is an entirely new type of city that's able to withstand natural disasters. He calls it Guardian City.
A guardian angel is an angel that protects you. In this case, you're protected from flooding and earthquakes. Building a place like this could help protect people from the COVID-19 epidemic we have now. Our concept is a city that guards you.
Guardian City is envisioned as a compact and convenient city, accommodating 10,000 to 50,000 residents in one area. It will be surrounded by a solid embankment, much like a city wall, to protect against all types of water-related disasters. And the biggest characteristic is a beautiful, almost European townscape. Integrating an idyllic and traditional atmosphere with cutting-edge and convenient city functions, it is a truly unprecedented vision for a residential community. He says the upper sections, where people will live, will incorporate advanced earthquake resistance to withstand major tremors. Mr. Kamei has also devised other unique ideas.
The entire space, or the first or second floors, could be modeled on London or Barcelona, for instance, so that the residents would feel as if they're living in maybe New York or Paris.
The townscape of the lower sections in each Guardian City will be modeled on cities around the world. Mr. Kamei says he plans to build a slew of such distinctive Guardian cities. While it may be an ambitious plan, Mr. Kamei is confident about the prospects. When asked about his reasons, he takes us to Edogawa Ward, on the edge of Tokyo.
The sea level here is less than 0 meters. The tide can rise to 5.1 meters.
The sign indicates how high the water could rise in the event of flooding.
If there was flooding, the water level might rise to 5 meters, which means 2-story houses in this area would all be underwater.
This is usually a great place, and I love coming here. But that would be disastrous.
Edogawa Ward stretches across an area that sits below the water level of local rivers. But he says it isn't an exception.
Many old cities, especially in Southeast Asia, have been drawing water from underground, similar to Japan. This town wasn't this low long ago.
Long term, we need to think about the risks when building cities.
Absolutely. This applies not only to Japan, but also other places around the world.
Water-related disasters have devastated cities around the world in recent years. Building a new type of city to protect people from such calamities is a pressing issue. Mr. Kamei believes it's essential to first propose solutions applying Japanese technologies. That's why he launched the Guardian City project.
The first floor of the house over there is lower than the water level.
Is this an area that could be inundated?
Yes. The Tokyo government has made an announcement that is very clear. If the river bursts its banks, 2.5 million people will have to evacuate from the 5 downtown wards, including this area.
People living in homes scattered across a wide area now will be drawn into safe Guardian cities, not only enhancing disaster management, but also significantly reducing administrative costs, such as for electricity and water. What's more, vast plots of land that open up in surrounding areas can be turned into farms to provide stable food supplies. He also says the water disaster management system of Guardian cities can be applied to the construction of factories.
Your vision is building resilient towns and towns that can coexist with nature. Do you want to expand this globally?
We want to start in Japan first and present an example. We can offer different solutions for different countries, depending on their financial situation.
Guardian City is envisioned as a city to protect the world from natural disasters. There's a reason why Mr. Kamei is so passionate about this project. Low-lying Edogawa Ward is actually where a young Mr. Kamei worked furiously to launch his real estate business.
This is my first building.
This is the first condo he built 28 years ago. 40 years old at the time, Mr. Kamei was unable to go toe-to-toe with major property companies in central Tokyo, so he started his business in this area.
You have numerous powerful developers, such as Mitsui, Mitsubishi, and Sumitomo, and we just couldn't compete. So we decided to go to a place with few rivals. This road had been finished, and I liked it, so we started here.
The area is dotted with properties developed by Mr. Kamei. He says they built many condos of a quality unimaginable in a downtown area, and because of that, the neighborhood grew in popularity.
My motto is, good money drives out bad money. When you make something that's top quality, people copy you. After you build it, people around start building beautiful homes, cleaning the neighborhood, and planting greenery.
A positive chain reaction spreads across the city.
Mr. Kamei says he decided to start building a city resistant to natural disasters here because it's where many people live in the properties he developed. The development of the Ichinoi station area is what could be called the culmination of his vision. The numerous condos that form a clean and relaxing townscape for residents were all built by Mr. Kamei.
We wanted to build a town better than Daikanyama. It's called Lanai Town Renaissance. We wanted to spark a renaissance, and that's why we gave it an Italian atmosphere.
It could be called a whole-scale production of an entire city. Each space is intricately designed with a focus on realizing a fulfilling lifestyle.
It feels spacious, even inside the building. Wow! I love this patio. It's delightful.
While projecting a high level of quality, Mr. Kamei also focused on cutting costs to the fullest extent possible.
If we can't compromise on cost, then we adjust the design to achieve our vision. If it costs 10 billion yen to build, but you only have 800 million yen, you need to constantly think about how to reach the level of 1 billion yen with just 800 million yen.
He says they were able to realize surprisingly low-cost development by replicating buildings with beautiful designs.
Based on the local market, the cost would typically be 30 billion to 40 billion yen, including the land. But we did it with less than 10 billion yen. We want to eradicate poverty because of high living costs. It's possible to make something surprising at a low cost.
He says the know-how of developing high-quality properties and such low costs is actually what makes Guardian City possible.
If the upper sections cost 500,000 yen to make, then the lower sections are 2 million to 2.5 million yen. But overall, since we only make 2 lower floors, the cost is very low compared to the 50 upper floors. So you only need to raise the overall cost by several percent to build this entire section.
While the lower sections are given a luxurious treatment, the upper sections are built by thoroughly minimizing outlays through the advantages of scale. Mr. Kamei says they'll be able to further reduce costs by continuing to build such guardian cities over the long term.
We're planning to build them in 2 downtown wards now. The cost, including the land, will be about 23 trillion yen. We're going to spend 15 years developing them, which means several trillion yen a year. And when the cities are built, the value will be tremendous. We want these buildings to last 500 or 1,000 years. If we can lower the cost of housing through this, then we'll be able to eradicate poverty caused by high living costs.
On this day, Mr. Kamei unveils a new idea to reduce costs for the Guardian City.
By putting in this gentle curve, the red section will stop inundation of 5 meters.
He says the dirt dug up during construction will be used to raise the ground of the surrounding area, significantly reducing the cost of building a high embankment. He's already acquired a patent for this method. In addition, to address the problem of water not receding after flooding and delaying restoration efforts,
The water will be drained here to get things back to normal as quickly as possible. If it recedes to this level, there won't be any more inundation.
the idea is to build trenches into which water can be channeled.
Even water in places where cars can't pass anymore can be drained here. Then everything can be restored all at once. This is the patent I registered.
He says he's acquired a patent for this idea as well.
Did you get a patent? I did.
Mr. Kamei has actually been acquiring various patents to realize his Guardian City vision.
An aseismatic reinforcing device for existing buildings, a passive vibration control device, and a tsunami-resistant building.
He's acquired 13 key patents in a year and a half. He told us about another surprising patent. It's for a power supply system that runs on hydrogen.
It's renewable energy from dams, wind farms, and solar that's converted to hydrogen, which can then be transported by trailer trucks.
He says there are advantages of transporting hydrogen and converting that to electricity in places that need energy.
We want to get rid of transmission lines. The cost can be reduced, and we're not vulnerable in a natural disaster. We can take hydrogen from big storage tanks and deliver it to each city, and convert it to electricity. That way, there won't be any blackouts. We're aiming for a fossil fuel-free society. We can protect the Earth's environment while cutting costs.
Guardian City is an unprecedented type of city, incorporating various ideas to protect the lives of people from natural disasters. This monumental project is steadily moving forward.
Will you really be able to realize this?
We can, and we need to. We already have all of the knowledge needed. All that's left for us to do is to commit ourselves and take action.